today, like I mentioned earlier, we're just doing a consolidation of data handling. I just picked up on a few things that we struggled with during this course, and we just want to go through it again. So starting off the data handling process. Who remembers the 6 stages of the data handling process? Who can maybe remind me what step 1 is? Because remember, we start at a certain point and we work our way through the process until we get to a conclusion or analysis of our data. Who can tell me what our first step in the data handling process is? Anyone want to raise a hand and let us know?
Wow, we have no takers tonight.
Oh, not one person. Okay.
Come on, guys. It's the last lesson. Make it count.
Any of the steps of the data handling process. Doesn't have to be in the order. Can everyone hear us?
Yeah, maybe that's also another.
I'm just wondering. Not one. Okay, guys, let me help you out. The first, okay, I see something in the chat. To find the mean of data handling. Okay, thank you. Right, so finding the mean is actually called summarizing data. Summarizing data comes in at step number 4. When we summarize data, we are finding the mean, mode, median, range, and interquartile range. Then is it, I don't really know how to pronounce your name, I must be honest.
Oh, we have Zenande, the hand is up. Yeah, so Zenande. Let me just quickly unmute. Yes, talk to us, Zenande.
It's collecting data.
Collecting data, great. That is step number 2. Do you remember any way we can collect data?
It's still my first lesson.
Okay, no, that's fine. Well done for your first lesson. You answered one of the questions. Thank you so much. Okay, then I see observe the data from Nkopotse in the chat. Observing is part of collecting data. We do observations, we can do interviews, surveys, etc. Okay, but the very first step is actually posing a question, like what do we want to find out? We have to pose a question. What is your favorite subject? What is the most popular food being sold at the tuck shop? What do you want to find out? That is the question you need to make. So pose a question.
I need to put it in the chat, as well as Zoom
come up
user.
With questionnaires. Good. Zoom user so far, well done, developing questions. And Banele, good. So that is, yeah, partly question 1, but mainly part of collecting data. So we pose a question, we collect our data. So we get all our answers from our interviews, our surveys, our observations, and then we organize it. So it's easy to manage.
Then Zoleka in the chat says representing data.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. I think it's all coming back to us now. We've spent quite a bit of time with representing data, which is displaying our data or representing, and we do that with our graphs. And 6, analyze and interpret.
Yes, Ayabonga provided that one for us in the chat.
Sure, just took you guys a while to I don't know, come let me know all the answers. Nice.
Their brains were
Just see that-
defrosting.
Yeah. All the answers came in. I'm so impressed. Thanks, guys. I was worried for a second when we just were hearing crickets in the beginning. Okay, so that was a quick recap on the process of data handling. I have seen it being asked before, literally, what is the second step of the data handling process? And then you had to know it was collecting data. So I have seen it being asked in a test before, but it's not a common question. So it's just worth knowing. Okay, then we're going to recap the summarizing data part. So we're looking at 5 important things here. Who can remind us about what the mode is? Most popular number or the most common number, the number that we see the most of, the most occurring. Good. Median. Not yet, it's not the average. Good. Median is middle, our middle number. But remember, it needs to be of an ordered data set. So it has to be put in order first, and then we find the middle number. Good. Mean is average. Good, Asipe. Soleka, good. Panele. Nice, you gave us the actual. Oh, I spelled that wrong while I was busy reading a comment while I was writing. Panele gave us the actual the formula. Addition of all the numbers in the data set divided by the total number of the values. Very good. So just to remind you, sum of values divided by number of values. So if you're adding up 10 numbers, you're going to divide by 10. Then range. Oh, look at these beautiful answers. Thank you, Ayabonga, Onkopotse, and Luto. Well done. Highest minus lowest, or your biggest number minus your smallest number. Interquartile range. Difference between upper quartile and lower quartile. Good. Also known as quartile 3 minus quartile 1. Great. Fantastic. So glad you guys are getting this chop. All right. So with that being said, keeping in mind everything we've just mentioned, I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to quickly complete this little exercise for me. Nice and easy to ease us into it. Keep your answers to yourselves. I would like someone to maybe raise their hand and let us know how they got the answers. Otherwise, we can release it in the chats just now.
Mango is on a roll, just providing us answers in the chat.
Okay, yeah, if you guys want to answer, you're welcome to raise your hand and let us know how you got everything, or yeah, let me see it in the chat. It would be nice to hear from you guys while it's still nice and easy. Hopefully confident in your answers. Hey, we got some answers. Okay, so you're not sure about the mode because there is no mode. So your answer will be no mode. Anyone else want to let us know answers? Are you still busy? Okay, so I can see some answers coming in. Great stuff. Just quick one. First thing we always do is put our numbers in order. Okay, so from smallest to biggest, it goes 4, 10, 12, 13, 14, 18, 20. Okay, there is no mode, so you say no mode. You can't say 0 because then you're saying the number 0 is being shown the most in the data, and there is no number 0. So you must say no mode. Okay, then I see quite a few median answers coming through, and the median is in fact 13, which most of you have written down. Well done. Okay, it is right in the middle. Our mean, if we add everything up and we divide by 7, let's see what our answers were for the mean. I can see some correct answers here as well. If you add everything up, you get 91/7, which equals 13. So just remember to show working out. Oh no. And that's why it affected all your answers, because you forgot to include 20 over here. Okay. So always double check in the test that you have included all the numbers. And then range, of course, is our highest number minus our lowest number. So it is 20 minus 4. So our range is 16. Okay, so let me know in the chat, how are we feeling about summarizing data? I know that was a quite nice, easy start, but give me some thumbs up, smiley faces. How much do we love summarizing data?
10 out of 10 experience, I'm assuming.
Yeah, my favorite. Yeah. Nice.
Everybody's happy clappy.
Awesome. So I'm going to step it up slightly. So we have actually done a question like this before. So I just want to see if you guys remember and if you can apply this basic stuff to the next question. Okay, so like I say, let's step it up. So I've got Mr. Smith is an investor from the USA who wants to open a steel company in South Africa. He will be visiting several towns. He checked the temperatures of 10 towns. The table below indicates the temperatures recorded for the same day. So a whole long story there, but all we need to know is that they're showing us the different temperatures for 10 towns. Okay, so take a moment to look at the table. Okay, so key thing to take note of is that they've given us the minimum temperature and the maximum temperature of all these different towns for one day. So let's say it is a Monday. In Bethlehem, we don't know the minimum temperature. We know the maximum. Stellenbosch, we know the minimum and the maximum. So on that particular Monday, it's going to be possible low of 11, but possible high of 23. Greytown will be a minimum of 8, but could go to a high of 22. So that's how we read it. This is all for one day. The possible low temperature and the possible high temperature. So now let's look at question 1. It says, determine the value of A, which is the minimum temperature, if the range of the minimum temperature is 24. Okay, so let's just quickly take a moment. We need to work out A. Okay. They've asked us to work out A, but they've given us the range. Normally, we have to work out the range. Normally, we have to say range is equal to highest minus lowest. But now we don't need to do that because they've given us range. But if we write out the formula, so I'm going to quickly check this chat because there's quite a few comments coming through. Okay. I'm seeing some answers here already. Does anyone want to walk me through how they did that?
Maybe talk to us.
Yeah. Raise your hand. Ayabonga, hello.
Let me quickly unmute you. Always happy to hear your voice.
Hello.
There we go.
Hi, how are you today?
Hi,
I'm good, thanks, and you?
Good, thanks.
So,
Okay.
I don't know if I'm right. So, I took the range that they gave us and then I subtracted it by 20 because 20 is the highest number from the minimum column. And then I got 4.
Sorry.
Okay, so we're only looking at the minimum temperatures. Don't get confused like I did and looked at Bethlehem as a whole and looked at their highest temperature and lowest temperature. So we know, I'm just going to start all over. The range is 24. The highest amount there is 20 minus our A. Same thing still applies though. I'm going to take A to the other side, so it's going to become positive A, so it becomes A plus 24 is equal to 20. Then I'm going to get rid of the 24, so I'm going to say minus 24, so they cancel out. Minus 24 this side, A is equal to negative 4. So it's still a negative amount. Okay, I just got confused between the maximum and minimum. I do apologize and thank you for noticing that.
Shout out to you, Ayabonga. You're a true one.
Okay, do you want me to explain this particular question again? Let me know in the chat. Okay. Let's do it one more time. Cool. So, this question is weird in the sense that it's asked us to work out the value of A. Now A is over here, and they've actually given us the range. Normally you are used to us asking you, work out the range, determine the range of this data set, determine the range of these temperatures. But now I've given you the range, and you need to find out the lowest amount, okay, which is A. So we start off by writing out the formula we know. This is the only formula we know with range. So when in doubt, write out the formula. Then substitute in everything that you do know. We know that the range is 24 because that was given to us. So I'm going to put 24 in the range spot in the formula. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm looking for the highest temperature is because they say A is the minimum temperature or the lowest temperature out of all the minimums. Okay, so the wording is a bit confusing there. So they're saying A is the lowest. So A is actually over here. So I need to look for the highest temperature out of all of these, which does end up being 20. So I put 20. Okay, so the wording could have been better. They could have asked for one. They could have said that A is the lowest temperature out of all the minimum temperatures. Okay, and then, so I've substituted everything in, and it's perfect because we're only left with one unknown. So now we can manipulate or change the formula around so we can find that one unknown. Okay, and like I said, I'm not a fan of the negative A that we see here. So I am going to do the opposite so I can cancel it out because minus A plus A gives you 0. But what I do on the one side of the equal sign, sorry, I do on the other side. So I add A on that side. So now I'm left with A plus 24 is equal to 20. Now I want to get A by itself, so I need to get rid of the 24. So to get rid of the 24, I do the opposite operation, which is a negative. So those can cancel out because minus 24 plus 24 gives you 0. But I need to do the same on the other side of the equal sign. So A is equal to 20 minus 24, which is negative 4. Okay, so it does take some getting used to. It is one of the harder type questions when it comes to asking for the range. So this is a very higher order type question. It's not a common question either, but it can be asked. Okay, does that make more sense? We're feeling a little bit better. Cool. See a fist bump there. Awesome. Thanks, Ayabonga, for your beautiful brain today. Saved us. Okay. So now, might not have been a nice question, but not all is doom and gloom. Let's look at the next one. Calculate the mean for the higher temperatures. I know you can all do that. So I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to quickly work out the mean for the higher temperatures. So that means we're looking at our maximum temperatures for this question. Working out the mean. Let's go. Sure, I see some of you are working on this already. Okay, so I see the answers coming through, 23.5. And that is indeed correct, because if you have to go and add all those temperatures up, you would get an answer of 235. And there are 10 numbers that you've added together. So we divide by 10 and you get 23.5. Well done. Hey, normally mean is one of the harder ones. Then question 3, what is the mode for the minimum temperatures? So minimum is our top row. What is the mode? Is there a mode? Good. The number that is repeated the most is in fact 8. Nice. Awesome. Well done, everyone. Okay. So now keeping the mean in mind, I'm going to step it up again, similar to our question 1 here. Okay. Question 2 says, 2 grade 12 classes completed a test on data handling out of 20 marks. The 2 classes results are as follows. I've got class A and I've got all the results. Oh, look at that. The letter A, we're missing a mark. Class B, we've got all the marks. Now it says, if the mean of the class A results is 13, determine the value of A. So can you see how this is very similar to that first temperature question? But now we're dealing with the mean. So main thing we need to focus on is that we're looking at class A only. So we don't need to worry about class B at all. Okay. So they have told us the mean is equal to 13. So we know it's the sum of our data over number of data. So when in doubt, write down the formula. This is the only formula we know for mean. We can fill in what the mean is in this formula. We know that it is 13. Sum of data, we can go and add all of those numbers up so long. Okay, so we're going to add them up and we're going to say plus A. Over, do we know how many numbers there are? In this data set, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to ask you to quickly add all the numbers we do have. The 14 plus 16, 7, 19, 13, 16, 15, 11, and 9. Quickly add that up for me. Tell me what you get. Are we sure we get that number? I didn't get 120. Let me double check though. Oh, it is 120. Apologies. I realized I changed the number. Okay, so it is 120. Now, who wants to try guess what we do next? Because we ultimately need to get A by itself. Anyone want to try guess? What's our first move to try get A by itself? We're not going to touch A now. What should we get rid of first? Anyone want to try? You got 12 and not 120. And Sako, yes, well done. Okay, so let's just clarify. We were adding all these numbers up. 14 plus 16 plus 7 plus 19 plus 13 plus 16 plus 15 plus 11 plus 9, and that gives you your 120. Okay, now like Nsako said, we are going to get rid of the 10 first. Because we are dividing by 10, we do the opposite operation, which is times. So that's going to cancel them out. What you do on the one side of the equal sign, you do on the other. I'm going to times by 10. So I'm left with 130 equals 120 plus A. Okay, now to get A by itself, this is technically A plus 120. So I'm going to say minus 120 minus 120. So it gives me 10 is equal to A. And that would be the missing mark, the 10 out of 20. So can you see that both these harder type questions were asking the same thing? You just had to manipulate your formulas. How do we feel about that one? Did that one go a little bit better? Let me know in the chat.
Seems like everybody or a few people are thriving with this one.
Nice. And like I said, these two questions are one of the hardest when it comes to mean and range. So if you're getting this, that's really, really good. But if not, a little bit more practice. But don't stress yourself out because it's not a common question. Okay, and don't forget that you're welcome to take screenshots so that you don't miss out on these answers. Okay, let's go on. So that was our recap on summarizing data. I just wanted to make you guys aware of those two types of questions where you have to manipulate the formula. Obviously, you can't do it with the mode and you can't do it with the median. So it's really only these two. So you can actually study this and practice. They can only ask you this type of question with the range or the median. Okay. Now let's recap finding quartiles and box and whisker plots. So the final grade 12 results, I see that this just jumped here. The final grade 12 results for Tembi and Umpo are given below. So we've got Tembi's marks, we've got Umpo's marks. Determine the IQR for each set of data correct to one decimal place. So if you're getting some decimals, I only want one decimal place in your answer. I'm going to ask you guys to quickly try that by yourselves. So I want the IQR for Tembi, IQR for Umpo. Let me know if you need some help. And if there are no decimal places, you just ignore that. Which I think will be the case because there are no decimals in your numbers there. Okay, Larato, I will go through it now. When I go through the answers, I'll just explain the whole thing. Nice, Oleka. Okay, so for those of you who have forgotten how to do the quartiles, I'm going to quickly explain here. Those of you that are confident and happy, you can just check your answer once I've finally gotten it. Okay, so those of you that are new to the quartile situation, we have quartile 1, quartile 2, and quartile 3. That means we need to divide our data into 4 equal parts. So the first thing we do is first divide it into 2 halves. When we divide it into 2 halves, we are essentially finding our median. So we count how many numbers there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. So that means our middle number is 52, and that is quartile 2. So it's a bit weird because we always start off by finding quartile 2 first. So now that has split our data into 2 halves. We've got 3 numbers on this side, 3 numbers on the other side.
Monique?
Yes.
You need to change your quartile 2 to 52.
Oh, I just wrote, thank you. 52. Okay, we now divide the first half into half again. So we look on the side, there's 1, 2, 3 numbers. So our middle number is the 51. And that's quartile 1. We look on the other side and we divide that in half. Our middle number is 60, and that is called quartile 3. Okay, and now we've got 4 equal parts by dividing it into those 3 quartiles. Interquartile range is our Q3 minus our Q1. So our highest quartile minus our lowest quartile. So it's 60 minus 51. So our interquartile range is 9. Okay. My advice, if you're new to finding quartiles, take a screenshot of this so you can try it again later. Those of you that are confident, just check that you got the right answer. Okay, I'm now going to do impose IQR. So to work out the IQR, I have to first put the marks in order. So it is 48, 49, 52, 64, 66, 66, 67, 73. Okay, first step is we find the middle, our median. So we count how many numbers there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's an even amount of numbers. So that means technically our 64 and 66 are both in the middle. So quartile 2 is in between them. So for quartile 2, you're going to say 64 plus 66 divide by 2. So that means your quartile 2 or your median is 65. Don't worry, Vanessa. As long as you realize your mistake now. Okay, then to find quartile 1, I find the middle number from this half. This half again has 2 numbers in the middle. So our quartile 1 is between 49 and 52. So it's going to be 49 plus 52 divide by 2, which gives you 50,5. And quartile 3 is the middle of this other half. And again, in between 2 numbers. So it's 66 plus 67. So essentially, we're just finding the median 3 times. Every time we halve it, we halve that half. Okay, and that gives us 66,5. So therefore, our interquartile range is 66,5 minus 50,5, which is our quartile 3 minus our quartile 1, which is 16. And I did see quite a few of those coming in the chat. Oh no, I got 18. Oh, Vanessa, I see what you're saying there. So Leka, did you see where you went wrong? Or yes, as Kia said, this is a good time to take a screenshot, especially if you're unable to keep up with the copying down as we go through it. Awesome, glad you found your mistake.